안녕하세요. What is up, ducks? Quack quack. Danny Kim.
David.
Welcome to the very first episode of Unpopular K-pop Opinions.
I don't know why we're reviewing unpopular K-pop opinions in the first place.
You all know the subreddit Unpopular K-pop Opinions.
I don't go to subreddit.
Well, now you do.
I'm a mainstream boy.
First post that we're gonna read today. K-pop fans need to respect Korea more. Do you agree? First of all, I'm generally thankful for all K-pop international fans. They've helped spread the Korean culture to the world. I think this guy's Korean. Okay. But some international fans need to be more respectful. I've seen so many of them bashing Korea for its toxic culture or K-fans. They demand that idols speak English and spam YouTube videos with please English sub comments. They act superior to K-fans because they think international popularity is more important than domestic popularity, when in reality they're both important, and because they think they are more morally superior because they accept idols when even when they do drugs and have scandals. Well, I kind of agree. Like, you know, they're
morally superior because they accept idols doing drugs.
That's a contradictory statement, but that's what international fans do, right?
Okay.
You agree? Like, oh, it's just weed.
They're more acceptive.
Drugs are illegal in Korea, people. No matter how they are considered in your country.
Oh, did I write this?
Oh. Hey. Barrier between Korean culture and international fans seem to create the different reactions, but I won't elaborate. It's just cultural difference, not
crazy possessive K-fans.
Attacking idols is wrong, but it's not like I-fans don't attack idols at all. They can be just as delulu. It's not a K-fan thing. K-pop started in Korea. Korea took a part in creating K-pop. Therefore, if you're a fan of K-pop, I think you should have at least have some understanding about Korea's culture. Not Korea's culture is so toxic because of this kind of understanding, but Koreans see this differently from us because of this, and it's okay kind of understanding. Did we write this?
Oh, is this Dkdktv?
Oh, please understand that I-fans are guests enjoying Korean culture. Don't force your own cultural views on it, calling it the right answer. This is not your country.
Wow.
No matter how many international fans the fandom has, Koreans will always come first.
What?
Because K-pop is Korean first, then international.
Wait, is this entering the boundaries of xenophobia?
Why did you write this statement?
I did not write this. I'm suspecting you.
Me? Some people are saying it's completely possible to respect Korean history and culture and also criticize it when it comes to basic human rights issues like homophobia, xenophobia, sexism, racism. There are definitely boundaries to be drawn for what's appropriate for I-fans to comment, but there's nothing wrong with criticizing Korean culture where it's due, like systematic sexism, LGBTQ right abuses.
Intellectual comment there. I agree totally. End of the show.
That's it.
That's
See you in the next
for
episode. Balsil says, can I just also add that military enlistment is not an issue international fans should be discussing? Sure, you can be sad about it, but as an I-fan, it doesn't really matter if you disagree with it or not because it's way beyond above K-pop. It's already about Korean laws. What the Korean government or perhaps the majority of the Korean population decide about military exemption of your idols is what counts, not your fake-ass concern about the downfall of Korean economy. Like what even? Those are some hot-ass takes.
I've never been on Reddit before, but
you like it now?
I don't want to go there.
You're the one who wrote this.
No, I didn't. First of all, I do not agree entirely with that post. I agree to the premise of it. K-pop fans in general, I-fans, or whatever, from wherever you are, should respect a certain cultural factor from a country if that is the product of that country. I don't know if that made sense.
Do you feel that sometimes like K-pop fans are not respecting Korea?
I see those once in a while. Like, I see some hilarious comments on Twitter.
For me, the most triggering Twitter posts are when Korea is generalized based upon comments from Pan. There's this Panchoa, that website that translates Pan comments.
Yeah.
Pan is like the worst of the worst. You're scraping the bottom and then seeing what comes out. Oh, look at these Korean people be terrible. Honestly, we're a little bit to blame because we always pick Naver comments that are terrible as well. But at least Naver is like something that everybody uses, right? Whereas Pan is like, I don't know who the uses pun anymore? If you look at the Panchua comments, the replies, they're always like, oh, like this is why Korea is terrible. Like this is why Korean fans are like the worst. If you're looking at the shittiest website you can go for in these comments, and then you're saying like, oh, look at this, like this is Korea, you're really trying hard to paint Korea in a negative way. So that's, for me, that's really frustrating.
I think I have two things that kind of bug me every time it surfaces. It's mostly about drugs and aegyo. I understand, like, you guys know all the scientific facts. It's already accepted in your society, and it's not a big deal. In here in Korea, it's not. People don't know about that much. People don't care about that much. People think it's a negative thing, and they have consensus on that. There's a law that forbids it, and people don't want it here. They just simply don't want it here, and they don't care about it. By the law, it's forbidden. And when an idol gets caught doing like weed, let's say, and he gets like the sentence, people are like, "Oh, Koreans are so uncivilized. They're so outdated in scientific facts, like legalization, blah 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 blah." Okay, I get it. You guys are all smart. You guys are all, you guys are all smart. You guys can preach all about those scientific facts. Preach that to Koreans all day you want. Like, people don't care about it. They don't want it here.
We're talking about drugs in specific, which aren't essential necessities of a society. Please don't misunderstand my words and expand the logic to human rights, sexism, racism, etc. Everybody needs to learn about those things. Let's not compare smoking to blackface, for example. Koreans need to know about those issues.
And we look up to countries like Singapore that don't like.
We have a different model.
Yeah, we have a different model. We have a different set of thinking because we're in Asia. We're based on Confucianism, for God's sake. In the Joseon dynasty, you couldn't even cut your hair because it was disrespectful to
So do you think that was right?
No, but we have a different mindset, and people are just okay with it. And for drugs in particular, like, not having drugs in Korea is not going to cause any harm.
That's true.
So there's nothing to lose anyways. People should just accept that Koreans don't care about drugs, and like how much you preach about the scientific facts and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be illegal, for God's sake. Okay. So like, if you want to really preach about it, go in front of the National Assembly.
We need an idol to come out and smoke a joint.
And one thing I don't understand.
What?
One thing I don't understand. Like, you have all the freedom to go preach and protest in front of the National Assembly. Like, let's see if the lawmakers listen to you. But I don't understand why they drag in like sex offender crimes and sentences and compare it to drugs, because that's like totally independent. Like, sex offenders like rapists get like 3 years of sentences.
I mean, that's too short. Also, 2 years for weed is too excessive. Here's the issue: weed is not an essential drug, right?
Yeah, we don't need it.
We don't need weed.
It's like
Some
cigarettes.
people might need weed. Like, if you're really like sick, terminal cancer, that's all you have. Most people don't need weed. So if you're a politician, you're not gonna go suddenly say, "Okay, I got an idea. Let's legalize weed."
Yeah, people won't listen. People just don't care. We're happy with our lives without drugs.
So stop.
So let us be
feeding weed down our throats.
Yeah. We don't need
second aegyo.
Second
Let's
aegyo.
talk about
Like,
aegyo.
Aegyo is usually like frowned upon by a lot of K-pop fans. Like,
Oh, I don't understand why grown-up girls are acting like 15 years old. That's like pedophilia.
that also like sometimes it extends to like, oh, Korean fans are so gross because they like these concepts. They like girls being young. They're strengthening the stereotypes of how girls should act and stuff like that. Like, like cutesy like this. And a lot of people don't like aegyo.
I don't like aegyo either. Like,
that's a personal preference. Right. That's a personal preference, right? Aegyo is considered normal in Korea. There's no logical ties or background to aegyo that it comes from like pedophilia or whatever. We just think,
like, why is aegyo even a thing here though?
Because people like it. That's cultural, right? Like it's the same. It's the same. If you convert it to America, they have like all these revealing outfits and all. Like, cleavages are just not flying out. Yeah,
boobs.
Yeah, you have boobs, asses on music videos.
Oh
while
my
we
God.
don't. But when Koreans see that, you've seen a lot of Korean reactions to it, and they're like, oh my God, like, it's a different culture. Aegyo is the same. It's like it's the opposite side of sexiness. When we see Hollywood movies and we see like
ass?
Megan Fox or whoever, people are like, I guess that's how America is like. We don't say like, oh my God, they should put on some clothes and they shouldn't do that stuff.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we don't say that. But K-pop fans sometimes say, oh my God, aegyo is like promoting pedophilia. It's strengthening stereotypes among girls. They should stop with this behavior. I don't think that's.
I get what you mean. When a Korean person Americans watches like some Cardi B shit, people say usually like, wow, that's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But they don't go like, oh my God, America
She should
is
put on
fucked.
clothes.
This is the issue with America. These women, these men, you know, with their ding dongs out there, you know, like that's the issue. Boobs, ass, and ding dongs. You don't say that, right?
Yeah, we're just
No
like,
one
oh,
says
that must be how America is.
That's what I feel like. I feel like, you know, you can feel whatever you want about aegyo, and I personally don't like aegyo.
Also
by the way.
for-
and
like-
also I want weed to be legal in Korea. But anyway, you can feel what you want, but you don't have to become a f***ing activist in
Yeah,
another
exactly.
country and like
Exactly.
try to change the rules when everybody agrees upon those
And I don't
rules.
think you should be mad or like furious about those things. Like, why isn't weed legalized? Why are they doing aegyo? You know?
I think the difference in the attitude towards that also has to do with culture as well, because in Korean culture, people don't like to voice out their opinions too much. We like to not cause disruption.
We like harmony.
And we also like people who keep their line, you know, keep their boundaries. We feel like it's not our place to comment on, you know, what's wrong about American culture when Cardi B shows her ass like, you know, 500 times in the music
It's
video.
just like simply
But-
like looking at the COVID situation, like
What?
looking at how the countries act differently. We're like, the government says put masks on, it's bad for you. Okay, why not?
Oh, we're gonna
Every-
track your location via your phone.
Yeah, I'm happy with
I'm
that.
happy
Yeah,
with
we have QR codes with our identifications and
Right,
enter a pub
and
and
now
everyone's
we-
okay.
oh,
And America's
actually, I'm
like,
not
oh
okay
my
with
God,
that.
masks have like microfilters that infiltrate your lungs. I'm not going that. That's against my freedom.
I'm not saying that either one is necessarily wrong.
Yeah, the
Different-
two have different ways
Right.
of acting, and that's from
Yes.
culture.
Those cultures, people who are saying those things, international fans, they have I think a culture of expressing their opinions more freely.
Yeah.
Whereas Korean culture, we're more reserved. So that's why we see this dynamic of international fans pointing something out that they don't like, which is all their freedom. And that's totally acceptable in their culture. Whereas in Korean culture, we feel like, hey, like this is not your place. We never said anything about Cardi B and her music videos, right?
Yeah.
So same thing goes to you. So I think that's where the cultural clash comes in. And it's really interesting. I'm going to end this on a good note. I think it's really interesting to see these two very drastically different cultures mix in a very, perhaps a more enclosed space.
Right.
Of a part of Korean society, which is the K-pop fandom space. K-pop fandoms, I think, are even a more enclosed community
Right.
than typical Korean society. So they probably have even stricter rules
Yeah.
about things, on what you can do and what you can't do. So to see that community clash with the international fandom community, it's very interesting thing we're seeing right now. So I think this is like just the growing pains of K-pop becoming a global thing. We just don't know how to deal with this dynamic here, right?
But at the same time, just because the international community and fandom becomes the majority and the big chunk, we cannot disregard or like completely ignore the core, the Korean fandom as well.
But I feel like that's kind of becoming more and more of a reality where
Yeah.
Korean fandoms are not
They're
as
getting
important.
pushed away.
It's the irony of your group becoming so big
Yeah.
that international success becomes more
More of a
important.
priority.
I think that's just the new reality of Korean
Yeah.
pop, and we gotta accept that. So,
Before we end it, I just
What?
want to end it on a good note too. Like,
okay. After saying like we don't want ass here, we don't
I
want
didn't say
boobs.
that. My opinion is you guys can say whatever the you want. Like,
Okay.
say that on the internet, say that on your Twitter, whatever. Like, you guys are free to say anything.
Okay.
Like, I
Then what's your
respect.
problem?
I respect all your opinions on drugs, aegyo, like whatever. You can have your own opinion, but don't enforce them upon people. Don't think that is the sole truth in the world. And like, you gotta try to understand if something different is happening in another country. You gotta try understanding the history, the context, and why they think like that before you think, oh my God, they're dumb. Like, they're so
Yeah.
uncivilized. They're
Us
outdated.
too. Us too. You gotta open your mind to
Yeah.
weed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like go watch some Cardi B.
I want you to touch that, touch
So
that.
there you go. That's the first episode. Maybe the last. I don't know. We're bad with series.
I'm gonna receive so many DM essays about the
Okay.
pose of weed again. Like
Oh,
every time I
do they?
talk
Do
about
they
this, yeah,
send you
like
that?
15 messages. Oh my God.
Okay, maybe we'll change David. But tell us what you guys think in the comments below, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.